Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam, sister. How are you?
Oh, thank Allah. Wonderful. I just finished vacuuming.
Okay.
Ah, I'm here at my mother's and I had to wait till she went to church in order to go clean her bathroom and vacuum her room.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Okay. Okay. Where does she live?
Pompano Beach, Florida,
Pampa? Okay.
down
Yeah.
between 35
I know.
miles. You know where it is.
Yeah, I know Pompano.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, I used to have there was a friend of mine, a really good friend of mine. His brother sold cars in Pompano,
Uh,
and we would drive from Dallas to Pompano, spend a week down there just hanging out, fishing and hanging out on the beach and stuff like that.
yeah, that's the place. This is the place to be. Fishing
Yeah.
for sure. My
Yeah.
mom was,
And I'm
we were headed to her doctor's appointment third Wednesday, and she was pointing out all the fishing places that she and her husband, our Rev, had gone to.
okay. Yeah, there's good fishing down there. There's a friend of mine here in Dallas. He's an attorney with AT&T. He's from Tampa.
Hmm.
He's telling me about all the spear fishing that he did growing up there. And when he goes back, his dad lives in Tampa, still lives there. So when he goes
Hmm.
back and spends time with his dad, he'll if he gets a break, he'll go do some spear fishing
Oh
down
wow,
there.
that's scary. that's that's like tactical, like sharpshooting and what's the other thing when you shoot at a target on the thing rifle? I guess that's sharpshooting
Well,
is still in.
yes, target shooting. But there's
Right.
a tribe, there's an Asian tribe that lives I'm going to say pretty close to Indonesia. They're probably in those islands around Indonesia that
Mm.
that is their everyday activity is spearfishing, and that's how they get 95% of their food comes
Wow.
from spearfishing activities. And a
Now
lot
I'm
of those
trying to
guys are
think
to the point they can spend 3 to 5 minutes underwater without coming up for air.
what you say.
Yeah, yeah.
And so I was about to say that's terrible for the fish, but then I thought about it. We hook them in the mouth and bring them on up.
Oh yeah, yeah. We definitely do.
We hook them in the mouth. And many of the young African Americans that are into the music industry as well as just finding not a hobby it's a hobby sports job because they do clean the fish and cook it and sell some, but most of the families are around and they're teaching the young children how to go and fish and then cook or prepare it right there, skin it and
Hmm.
or whatever, clean it. Like my mom used to do that too. And that's
Yeah.
how I learned to clean fish. I became the fish cleaner at the house.
Okay. So you got
I
all your scaling equipment and everything for
Well,
scaling
you know
fish.
what? You know what? I would get a fork and put the fish underwater
Okay.
and scale it, and the scales never got around me. And then when I finished, I would do the same. I cut it from the back and get the insides out for
Hmm.
some fish. Most I'm speaking about mullet, but
Right.
the others, the brims or whatever, I would cut them down the side through their old little opening. But and I would behead some of them. And when I got finished, I would use joy. I mean, that lemon joy detergent
Hmm.
and you wouldn't smell it. But then later on, a girlfriend of mine told me, she says, just rub your hand on something metal,
Hmm.
even if it's a butter knife. And I started
Interesting.
doing that, and it absorbs the fish odor.
Okay. Okay.
So first, I went. My husband, he wanted to be the debonair kind of person, big guy, and wanted to impress. And he now we love to fish together. And he said, "Oh no, a woman." clean. She should keep herself, certain fragrance. And I said, okay. You're talking about it looked like he would get his wetsuit. He would get his one thing to gut, one thing to what you call it to scale, and he'd have a
Hmm.
trash bag and everything, and he'd go outside and he'd have newspaper spread out,
Right.
and I'm looking at that whole contract, and I just let him go ahead, and I was Miss Cutesy and just stood around and watched him clean fish, and then one day I said, "Let me show you how I do it." So when I did it, and we're talking about 30 fish, right? And when I
Yeah.
finished, and he looked at me, he said, "Okay, you got the job. You got it." So that's okay.
That is great. So, do your mother still gets out and does some fishing, or
Oh
no?
yes, yes, she
Oh,
does.
does
When my
she?
sister, I have one sister that would go out with her. We were laughing the other day, my mom and I, because my mom twice she would be in the boat with Rev since passed, but and he would say, "Flora, sit down. This is a." It was like a canoe boat, right? I mean, it was a
Mm,
boat, but it wasn't a huge one. And she thinks she was going to help by throwing the plank out. I guess that's the plank where you're going to park in the water,
okay.
and it would pull and push the boat and she would fall.
Okay.
And he tried
All
to tell
right.
her, she was used to bank fishing, where she could stand up
Hmm.
and cast her rod. But
Right.
she learned after twice, doing that twice. She was caught by him on the first time and then caught by two other guys that just happened to be standing right there at the shore thing. And so she figured it out. I better just let them throw the plank and I just wait and fish. But yeah, she's 92 and she just now left going to church. I say just now, an hour ago, going to church. Miss Spiffy.
Okay. All right. Well, that's good for her. If she's
Yes.
still active and healthy at that age, that is fantastic.
Oh, I mean, she rips and runs. The last night she was watching Steve Wilkos. I don't
I
know
know
if
who that
you.
is. I know the name. I've never watched any of his programs, but I do know who that
Yeah, yeah. He's like another Maury Povich, and
is. Hmm.
yeah.
Okay.
But and it's just I mean it's a blessing. It truly is. So how's the family there, and how's Texas weather?
Texas weather is absolutely perfect right now. This is the time of year in Texas that there's two times of the year in Texas. So
Mm,
April and May and part of June, the weather is pretty nice as far as spring goes. It's in the low 80s during the day. It's in the mid to high 60s at night. Just enough of a breeze. It's beautiful. That happens again in the fall, in October,
mm,
and part of November. But the rest of the year, of course, it's either too hot or too cold for the most part. But yeah,
mm,
it's absolutely gorgeous right now. I mean, everybody's out, everybody's happy. There's a little pollen, mountain cedar, and stuff in the air. I mean, I've got a little bit
mm,
of a mountain cedar problem going on myself at the moment, sneezing and stuff like that. But other than that, it's great here.
Well, you just described the weather here in Pompano Beach, and I guess in
Okay.
St. Pete as well. St. Pete is a little chiller, but my mom, when she got up this morning, she was dressed and she said, "Ooh," she said, "I'm hot." I go, "Hot?" I say, "I have on double layers and I'm chilling." And she said, "Oh, it's in the lower 80s." And I go, "Oh, that's cool to me."
Hmm. Now this is about perfect. Where my older son lives in San Diego,
Uh,
this is kind of what they get from March through November.
really?
Oh yeah.
In San Diego, is it because why? Where are they located? In Upper
Well, I mean
San?
that's Southern California, almost Mexico. but
Oh, okay.
it's along the Pacific Ocean, and the
Mm.
Pacific Ocean is cold. Atlantic Ocean is warm. Pacific
Yeah.
Pacific Ocean is cold. So it keeps the temperatures moderate, even
Wow.
even in a even in a place like that where if you go 100 miles north, closer to LA, you can be sweltering. Because
Mm.
parts of LA get so hot, it's just incredible. But San Diego, in the summertime, if it hits 85 degrees, they're complaining it's too hot.
What you say? That's now see. That's when you don't know, you let them travel to other places, right?
Oh
Then
yeah, they
they'll
know.
be, oh, they know.
I mean, they know, but they're just so. If people live there for a while, they're so accustomed to it. Even my son who grew up here in Dallas and Austin,
Mm.
when he moved to San Diego, and now if it gets close to 90 degrees, he's got the air conditioner going. He's got a big box fan blowing on him like he's about to die. In the in the in the summer in Dallas, if it's 90 degrees, everybody's like, "Oh man, a cold front just came through."
I didn't realize my mom had turned her air off. She told my nephew to do, but it was at well, I see she has it at 75. So I guess the air comes. She couldn't stand it any longer because when I came, I didn't mean for her to turn it off or accommodate me. I just put on more layers. But she had it at 65, I think it was 65 or close to 70. And I was just that was tormenting to me. Um, and so I'm here. I'm doing spring cleaning. Cleaning out the cabinets. Did the lower ones, and she wouldn't be outdone. Yesterday, she just had to get out in the garage and clean some shelves. I mean, she was almost a double work me. I said I'll come every 2 weeks now because I have to get those things up at the top. Well, she has a lot of ornamental things, whatnots.
Hmm.
And when we were growing up, we hated it. We hated every Saturday. We had to get those little miniature things and clean those shelves that had the lip up on it where you had to dig down around the trims and try to clean it out. We using vinegar and water, wipe the windows. We had windows galore. Doors had the jalousies. Saturday morning, we did not look forward to Saturday morning. Doing the laundry, my sister and I doing the hand scrubbing. She scrubbed and I rinsed twice in the tin tubs, and then we raked the yard, and that was the end of the. After we mopped the floor, wooden floor, so we got so used to cleaning up that she would dole us out to people in the church.
Oh
To
my goodness.
oh yeah, we were expert cleaners, and when we went to the when we started going to the laundromat, that was a blessing. And when the late one Caucasian lady was there, she come walking through, and she saw us with all these sheets. Mom had bought all these a lot of sheets, white sheets from this guy who sold them from his trunk, and that was our delivery guy. And I mean, we had all these sheets to wash, and I'm folding, and I'm doing the contour sheets, the fitted, and
Hmm.
I'm taking my time, and because my aunt has shown me how to fold them, and you couldn't tell it was a flat or contour when I finished folding. And the lady walked up to me. She said, is this a service that you all provide? Now, mind you, I was maybe 10 and my sister was 12, and she saw my mother drop us off. So she figured it was a service, and I was told not. My sister would handle the conversation. She said, "I'll talk. You don't talk to people, and don't talk to strangers." And my sister is very curt and short. No, ma'am. And we turned back to what we were doing. But it was amazing. Then I found out later a lot of people didn't know how to fold those sheets.
Hmm. That's true. I'm one of them. I have no clue.
Oh, I tell you, and if you doing the we found out later it was how they did it in the service, putting in that real tight corner,
Hmm.
envelope kind of corner in a flat sheet if you didn't have the
Hmm.
fitted.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So I teach my children how to do that. So when my son went to the service, he go, "Oh ma, guess what?" He say, "I aced it." He said, when other guys were having a problem getting those sheets just right, he aced keeping his bed snug, snug like a bug. And
Right. So you can bounce a quarter off of it.
yes, exactly. I thought that was a myth, but they actually do that, don't they?
They do. Yes, they
Oh,
do.
is it a myth, Edward? They did
No,
it for sure.
it's not a myth because even when I was in high school in ROTC, they run you through some of those type drills and different things that you would have to do if you actually went to the military. And
Hmm.
military corners, that's what you were talking about, the way that you tuck the flat sheet in to basically mimic a fitted sheet. They call that military corners. And you learn how to do the military corners, which is why I don't make my bed up when I get out of it to this day because I hate doing that stuff. But yeah, all that stuff is legit. That you learn all that stuff and the bouncing the quarter. I don't know if they actually walk around and do that all the time, but
Um,
even young people that I know that are in the military now, they'll come back and tell stories about stuff like that from time to time. So
and
yeah,
it
that's good stuff. Your parents, especially your mother, they took you through it. You were probably military ready and didn't even know it yourself.
didn't know it, and I was ready to go into the service, but my husband beat me to it. He When he realized I didn't make it because I was pregnant, and
Hmm.
I was so determined. I had passed all the science, the math, and I was like, okay. I was going to go into the Navy, and then everybody was telling me, "Oh, I don't know. Those Navy women are hard and rough, and you want to go into the Air Force." And so I thought about it. Though I made it for the Navy, and then I went on to sign up for the Air Force because I said, "Oh, they say, oh, you can be an airline stewardess," is what I was going to eventually be.
Okay.
And they said, "Oh, my person, the guy recruiter, he said, oh, he said, you have to weigh at least 136 pounds." Well, see, I was 5'8", almost 5'9", and he said 136 pounds. I said, "Oh, okay." I was at 139 when I graduated. So I said, okay. So I went to doing a little exercise and jumping up and down, jumping hedges, running. My mom out there with me, my next door neighbor, they're all with me, drinking grapefruit juice, everything. I didn't know I was pregnant. Well, my husband and I, I didn't know. And sure enough, 3 pounds. I stayed at 139 for 6 months of my pregnancy,
Wow. Okay.
trying to lose 3 pounds. My son today is the one he went into the Navy for 8 years.
Okay.
The one I was pregnant with. I starved him so that when he got here, I made sure I fed him. He was the biggest baby when we went to the. I wanted to go to the health department with my girlfriends. I didn't want to be separate. My husband wanted me to have private this and that, but I said, "Nah, I want to." He got his wish with the hospital part. He paid for that. Back then, it was only 200 and some odd dollars for a private room.
Hmm.
He actually got a refund because they put me in a semi-private. But alhamdulillah, he went to the Air Force
Okay. All right.
just
Well, let's
recently.
welcome
Oh,
everybody
someone else
else.
is with us? Oh, they
Oh,
are here?
we are all well. There's Assalamu alaikum Omar,
Seven.
Imam Tariq, Imam Talib, Imam
Oh,
Adam.
you all were hearing, and
Welcome
I'm just seeing the
everybody.
two of us. Assalamu alaikum, everybody. Forgive me.
Walaikum assalam.
I was on a roll, wasn't I? Oh, Lord. Now y'all know the rest of the story.
Yeah, ain't that the truth? Mhm.
Right. So let's do this. It is 9:24. my time, 10:24 for many of you. Let's go ahead and open up this morning, and we'll continue on.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين.
Mean. All right. So, guys, you guys got to listen to an inspiring story this morning. Should be all fired up and mind wide open and ready to do great things. Is that just listening to her tell that just reminds me so much probably of, women in smaller towns and, what they had to do, especially if they had a mother that came out of the Depression era and things like that, the type of, things that you had to do around the house, learn to do, and the aspirations to be able to leave and go do something like in the military, go to college, all that stuff. I just remember seeing a lot of those women and how industrious they were, and actually how industrious they still are. Some of them are a little older than me, like my sister. Some of them are my age, but it's amazing the energy level and the work that a lot of the women in our communities put in when they were given the slightest bit of opportunity to do things. When the shackles were taken off of just amazing. It kind of just reminded me of that, the aspirations and the little extra yard that women would go to make sure that they were qualified and they got opportunities. Pretty neat, pretty neat stuff. So what's going on with everybody else? Omar, how are things with you?
Sorry about that. Walaikum assalam. I
Look,
am doing great today.
well, that is fantastic. Good to hear, Imam Tariq. I saw your entrepreneurs program this weekend. Good stuff as usual. What do you need?
Thank you. Assalamu alaikum. Thank you.
And Imam Talib, give your wife the greeting and the thanks that the artwork and what you guys are bringing to the fore. That's really good stuff, man. I like that.
Alhamdulillah. Yeah, I didn't I didn't want to take all the credit because what would happen is you always start heaping other stuff on me, thinking I know what I'm doing.
Well, I mean, even if she's doing it, you're the conduit, so it's still going to come your way.
Well, she's the one that actually has the Canva account,
Mm-hmm.
so that made it easy because the photo I used, if you wanted to use it without having an account, they give you a 30-day trial, but other than that, you'd have to pay for it.
Right.
But because she's already got an account, it kind of gave me carte blanche to be able to use that photo. And then we went, they had over 2,000 choices for a flyer. I didn't go through all 2,000 of them, but we found the one that we thought best fit.
Okay.
And my plan is to get it to Flipcars Monday, inshallah. Take down the other two, put this one up with, have them leave the button there to register. But in the meantime, should we schedule anyone in particular, we have a guest for a Monday, what I would do um, is take out the middle section of the flyer that has the weekly conversation of different topic. Um, oh, that should have been topics with an S. All right, I got to go back and change that. Um, take that part out where all the checks are, and then be able, then insert something like, this week's conversation, give the date, and then join whoever is coming, um, and give a brief overview of their topic, so that each week that it changes, that special guest would be in the middle, but the basic flyer itself will always be there. So it's going to require me, once I get flip calls to load this basic one up, then any week we have a guest, I'll get it to them to upload the information on the guest right next to the base flyer that will always be there, if that makes sense. If you haven't seen the flyer, take a look at it. I believe I sent it to everybody. Yeah, everybody that's on this call now should have gotten it. If you didn't, let me know, and I'll get it. I'll get it out to us. I'll get it out to you immediately, inshallah.
Yeah, beautiful, I think.
Okay. All right. All right. So you were able to get it. So you understand what I'm saying? Like if you were going to be a guest one week, I would change that middle part and say this week's conversation, give the date, join Sister Martha Nyla with CWSC, and give whatever your topic is.
Yes, that would be wonderful. That's a good location.
Yeah. So anyway, that'll excuse me. Hopefully that'll get us started. We can now better plan the next program. In the meantime, I've got one other item. Yeah, I've got. Excuse me, one moment.
alaikum.
Walaikum salam.
I thought, okay, I was going to make sure everybody was still here, man.
Oh
Yeah, we're
no,
still
you know
here.
what? That was my fault. I was on mute, just talking away. All right.
You missed it all?
Oh man. Yeah, no, I'm
Lord have
sorry.
mercy.
No,
Yeah, I was, when I tuned in, you know, these days I don't recognize days. I recognize dates. So when I tuned in and heard the conversation, I said, well, maybe this is a collective conversation, but this must be Monday or something. I didn't know what day it was. Sister Martha, I figured Sister Martha was part of a collective conversation. So that might not be a bad idea, Sister Martha.
No, that would be an incredibly great collective conversation.
That's what I thought it was. Then I
Yeah.
realized it was Sunday. I said, oh, no, this is other call. Anyway, so y'all can imagine this. 2 days to go, brother. 3.
Oh yeah.
3 days
Yep.
to go.
3 days to go.
But I just want to come on, give everybody a greeting, and I'm going to go in.
Take that deep dive, huh?
Deep dive, brother. But it's almost here, man. And inshallah, I'll be back in. Well, I get to I'm going to the office now, so when I get there, I can switch over.
Okay.
All right. Assalamu
Walaikum salam.
Yeah, my apologies. I had excused myself because I was having a coughing fit, and I didn't want to do that unmuted. And then when I was done, I thought I unmuted myself, but I guess I didn't. So the last thing that I was saying was the last of my assignment is to get the letter of invitation out. It'll be a generic one that individuals will be able to use to invite whatever guests you intend on inviting. And I was saying something to Adam, who brought us the idea of the brother in the community that does the obtainable housing, that once he gets the letter, he can fill in that part. He can fill in that part that would speak to what it is that particular individual does.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll do the same thing with any guest that I invite. And you all could do the same thing. I think we had talked about it in inviting Hood Williams. I've got a brother here, Jamal Chappelle. I'm going to reach out to him. Adam had the manufacturing of housing. We had also talked about having a program on property taxes. Yeah, we had inviting younger imams, younger organizations, having a program on insurance, investments, halal versus haram. So I mean, I think we got a good list of I think we got a good list of programs we can do.
Mm-hmm.
And I think too what Edward and Adam was saying earlier about a collective conversation around the discussion that he and Martha were having is a, I mean, I think it's worthwhile, because little did you all realize, but I was sitting here in the amen corner, because it wasn't just sisters who were required to shine the chrome in the bathroom and clean around the base of the toilet seat, not just the toilet, but the base of it. So and I would tell you, up until I was maybe 12, 13 years old, I couldn't go out to play until I had got whatever baking lesson my mother wanted me to have that particular day, because she was determined that I was going to, learn how to cook. So I was making I was baking cakes, biscuits, rolls, and I mean I couldn't just make the rolls and let them rise on their own, because I tried to sneak away. But she said no. And folding sheets, I mastered that as well. Tucking that corner in and folding it over. Man, it had to be precise. And when I say precise, if it wasn't done right, I had to unfold it and do it again. So, Martha, you are not the only one. And I think I may have had the only mother in the world that went to Tougaloo College and majored in home economics. I ain't never heard of such a thing. All right. So, man, you best believe my early years, I mean, I caught hell. No, but now, to her credit, she birthed a grown man who knows how to do those things. It served me well when I was coming up, because I didn't have to depend on anyone to fix me a meal, to wash my clothes, to clean up, behind myself. I ain't have to depend on none of that. And the beauty of it is, unlike the rest of you, my mother never, ever, ever in her life required me to make up my bed. Never. And to this day, my wife only recently trained me. I'm talking about in the last year. She just trained me to make up the bed if I'm the last one out of it. So she spoiled me, because I ain't have to do that. But I still wash my own clothes. I can fix my own meals, and I'm thankful for it. So thank you, Martha, for those memories. But everything you were saying, all I could do was say, "Amen." I can bear witness to everything you had to go through.
So speaking of collective conversations, we don't have a guest for tomorrow evening's collective conversations. So the question becomes, do we want to skip the program for tomorrow in lieu of working toward a guest for the 21st? Or do we simply want to have a general discussion tomorrow evening for 30 to 45 minutes? Don't everybody speak at once.
I would take that as a no. I mean, it doesn't seem to be much enthusiasm for it. One.
Okay.
Secondly, should I get this flyer to flip calls tomorrow, they should have it uploaded Tuesday, Wednesday at the latest. If not that, if not that evening. We could then spend the next excuse me, we could then spend the next we could then spend the next, I would tell you we could spend the next 2 weeks to, and I mean, you can correct me, if there's another opinion somewhere, but should we get it uploaded next week to flip calls, we could then spend the next 2 weeks not only promoting collective conversation, but also by that time have a guest that we want to invite to collective conversations on the 28th, which is the last Monday in April. I don't know how anybody else feels about that, but I think we're going to need some time, next week and the week following to promote not only collective conversations, but to secure a guest speaker for the 28th. I don't think trying to do it on the 21st is really going to give us enough time for any promotion. Because right now we don't, to my knowledge, we don't have a social media presence that would allow for us to get the type of responses that we would like, which is to have more people on the Zoom. I just don't. I don't see it. Maybe the topic would be interesting enough for those that we have on the email list. I can't say. But I would certainly I would certainly like to see us have it at least 12 to 18 people on board besides ourselves. So in addition to any of us being on there, to have 12 to 18 people that that are joining this conversation. And which is going to lead, which should lead us to a discussion on how do we break through the noise. That is all the other stuff that is taking people's attention away from what we're doing and they're focused on whatever they focused on. And I don't know what that might be. I don't want to say anything disparaging about anybody, but but I mean, I guess it's just the vicissitudes of life. I mean, I don't make all the programs that you all individually are doing. I don't think I've ever attended any one of Imam Tariq's programs. Not that it's not important, but the the day and times that he does it, I'm doing something else. I think it's Saturdays, is it? I believe.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Saturday at 10 o'clock Central Standard Time.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's about 11 o'clock my time, and which is, which on a Saturday, I've got life issues I'm dealing with. My wife wants me to accompany her up to the farmer's market. I'm like her mule. So she goes to the farmer's market and gets food for the household, and I'm the one that's gotta carry it back. So and I've gotten into a routine now where I'm taking a hour's walk every day. So and the life of an entrepreneur, even in my 70s, is never over. There's no such thing as retirement. So oh, and I didn't tell you all, but in addition to all I just said, I'm helping my wife to promote her new book, and it's a masterclass on a new hair concept that she's come up with called Circle Hair, and it's a flip page ebook with 15 videos that are embedded into the book. Sells for $149 right now until June the 5th, which is going to be the official release date. There is a $49 discount, so you can get the book for $100 immediately. And this has been quite some labor. In fact, one of the things that one of the collective conversations that we may want to have is how to publish a book. Because we've done 4 of them. This is the 5th one we've done. So I mean, everybody's got a story to tell, but how do you get that out there? And how do you start? Where do you begin? Because I mean, even though the book is being released, even though the book is available now, there is, I would tell you, there's a solid 2 years worth of work that went into just the preparation to prepare and release this book. I mean, it's like over 40 years of her experience, but the last 2 years, her and I spent lining everything up with I hired a trademark patent attorney to get all of the trademarks for her scalp mapping, her circle hair. I think we put in an application for four trademarks. I had to re-register our had to re-register the trademark for our business. So all of that was part of the planning stage. I didn't know until recently that an ISBN number has to even be on digital books. And of course, ISBN has changed. We've had ISBN numbers. I think I've had like 100 of them since the early 90s. But then ISBN went digital, and we had to redo all of that. Library of Congress catalog, that changed. So all of that background stuff is what I've been doing in preparation, for this book, but it's also information that people can use if they want to, publish their own book. So I'll just jot that down as another collective conversation that we could have one Monday.
Yeah, that would be interesting. That would definitely be interesting, and I'm sure there are a lot of people in our community who look at some of the publishers in the community and want to know how they could go through that process themselves, go through all the steps, and probably don't get the opportunity to explore that. So I think that would be a good program. One of the things I was sitting there thinking about, because we do have a lot of ideas, really good ideas about collective conversations, and I agree with your idea of putting off probably until the end of this month to have another promoted program. But we also probably want to think about having a calendar so that when we send out an invitation, because we may send out multiple invitations to people. You may just have an opportunity to think that this might be a great program, great guest to have, and I may send one out, you may send one out, Adam may send one out, just on and on and on. If we have a calendar that's available for people to say, yeah, I'd love to be part of that. I'll be the second Monday in July or something. And they can put that on the calendar. We can do a confirmation with them and so on and so forth. I think that's something we probably need to consider, because I'm thinking we're going to be successful. If we're successful in getting people interested in being on the program, then let's make it easy for them and for us. And integrate a calendar.
So if I'm hearing you correctly, or did I hear you say that that calendar overview should be in the letter of introduction?
Well, yeah, there should be some kind of a link so that they can click on the calendar, see what the available Mondays are.
Oh, I see what you said. Okay.
Right. And we don't have to put on the calendar who's doing the first week of May or something. It's just blacked out. It's not available. So the available dates would be this Monday or that Monday, Monday in November, whatever the case may be. And if somebody wants to participate, they can choose a Monday. And
Right.
once we see that, then we'll send out a letter of confirmation to them, and then obviously keep in touch with them to make sure that there aren't any changes or anything like that.
Right. So I remember probably been about 3 years ago, um, where someone at the Ali Khan Islamic Center set up a Google Calendar that any one of us were given access to in order to put up events, um, who the khatib would be, for Juma, um, various activities. Is that what you're proposing?
Well, something like that. There's one app, I think it's called Calendly. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but I get maybe 5 or 6 of those a week from different people. It seems to be the one that people very it's easy to use because a lot of people use it. And people will send me a note and say, I'd like to talk to you about doing your accounting. I'd like to talk to you about software updates. I'd like to talk to you about whatever. If you have some time, please click on my calendar and, sign up for a 15 or 30-minute introductory whatever. And
Mm-hmm.
it's just so easy. Open that calendar, see what the available dates and times are. If you want to talk to these people, plug your name, your email address, your mobile phone number in there, and that's it, right? I mean, and that's one. I just see that one a lot. There are probably 100, if not more, that are available. I just think something along those lines, and we may even talk to Flip Cause and see if they have something like that they can make available to us. That's one option. I believe, and I will also talk to Zoom. I haven't even thought about that. I'll look at Zoom, and I don't know, Omar, you may already know whether or not Zoom offers that, but that since we're going to do things on Zoom, that may not be a bad idea if they do to just use their tool if they have one.
Okay.
But it's just, it's one of those things of being able to not have to deal with the confusion of having 2 or 3 people booking at the same time, wanting to appear, the first week in August or something. Is that they can also kind of choose dates and times that fit their schedule.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'll leave that up to those of you that are a little more technically savvy than I am. We as I understand the concept, and like I said, I've seen how it works through the Google Calendar that that was set up, but uh, I don't know about any of these other things. But I'm willing to learn, but I'll let somebody else take the lead with that.
Okay. Well, I think we have a good idea of going forward what we want to do with collective conversations. That's good. Then we just got to get busy and make sure that we get people booked and that we have the right type of promotion to draw people to the program.
Those 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 flyers that I sent, they can be duplicated, and
Okay.
they do show up well in black and white. So so if you don't have access to a free color copy, then black and white will do. Because I printed out some on my computer in black and white, and they came out just fine. Yep, came out just fine. So we will, and I'm gonna print, inshallah, I'm gonna print some up next week and take them over to Masjid Muhammad. And, start to distribute them there, and as we get guests, I'll do the same thing. I'll restructure the flyer and have that special information for our guests on there. So I'm gonna get to work on this letter. Oh, I got to go in and gotta go in. You all might want to wait. I mean, it's a small thing, but I've got to put a S on topic. Should be topics. And I'll try to do that before I go out on my daily walk. I got to keep these 73-year-old bones moving, man. You know, doctor told me, I don't know how she know, but the doctor told me she expects for me to live for another 25 years. So, well, thank you, doctor.
Alhamdulillah, right there.
I'm gonna come back and see you more often.
Perhaps that's what her goal was.
Yeah, well, look, it's getting there because
It
I got to
worked,
say
yeah.
she's really helped me. I got to give it to her, and I think she considers me to be one of her special patients, because I'm one of the from what she's told me, I'm one of the very few patients that she has that's my age and on no medication. And I mean, she can't even, in other words, when I say no medication, it's not like she's prescribed something for me and I just didn't take it. There's no reason for her to even suggest that I, take any type of medication, because right now I'm weak, but I'm strong. I got to remember, and she had to remind me that you got a 73-year-old body, but you also got 73-year-old bones. And did y'all know that when you get older, you shrink?
Of course.
Yes.
Okay. Well,
It was an awakening, but yes.
yeah, okay. I didn't know. I mean,
Oh yeah.
I've been 6'2" all my life.
I watched my grandfather.
Okay.
I mean, I
All
just
right.
watched everything just kind of I think my grandfather lost an inch and a half
Okay.
in probably his last 15 years. He was 88 when he passed. But yeah, I want to say in his last 15 years, he lost an inch and a half.
Okay. That's why my son seems taller than me.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Because he got my height, but man, he's past looking me in the eye. It's 'cause oh man. Oh, I mean, and I don't know why it took all this time for me to realize. I mean, this was I think they did this maybe 2 years ago, and they took my height. The girl said something about like 6'1 1/4. I said, no, 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 ma'am. I've been 6'2 all my life, but when I looked at the thing that she had, that's what it said. And that's when she told me that, as you get older, your bones are gonna shrink. What?
Yeah, I know my clothes are too. Some of my old clothes suits are too big for me,
Okay. All
and
right.
I know I used to sport them things.
Oh man.
Now when I put them on, man, coat sleeve on, my arms are too short.
Right.
What happened?
You could tuck your hand up.
Exactly.
yeah.
I get
Oh
my
man.
pants laid back in the ground.
Oh, oh man. I mean, who'd have known? I had no idea. But okay. But that's the way Allah planned it. So I ain't mad.
Yeah,
Oh,
gravity is a bad boy.
yes,
Now,
yes.
there's one thing you can do to not have it happen so quickly. I guess I can say. I laughed when our chiropractor shared with me. He has these loops on the wall, and I say loops. It literally look like a rope, but it's rubber. And you
Mhm,
go and you put your own neck in it, and from the back of your head,
mhm.
and you let your weight drop. And what he
Mm-mm.
says is spacing the spine again,
Fine. Ah,
so that you can
okay.
have
No,
that.
that is dangerous. That is dangerous.
Ooh,
They actually have the thing where you can put your feet in and flip yourself. I mean, it's
I know that
like
yes,
you're in a hammock. That is much safer.
yeah. Well, I did this one I'm speaking of, and it did work. I mean, and I'm scared of the one where I had a patient I had to put in that circular thing, and he said, "Okay, just flip me." I'm going, "Oh God, he's gonna fall out this thing," because the head was just not even a whole inch looks like from the floor when
hmm
but he did stretch. You're right.
Yeah,
mm,
yeah. Those inversion things work better because you don't want to be stretching the vertebra in your neck.
ooh.
Well,
That
well,
I'm
is
just
gonna
put
that
it
is
on and
that is
buy a rack. I'm gonna say buy a rack.
right.
Yeah, but
Exactly. Yeah, just buy a rack
buy a rack.
mm,
and see how that works out for you.
mm. Yeah.
But the inversion thing, I mean, that I know a lot of people that use inversion therapy because it actually is good for their back. I mean, they'll get in the inversion machine and stay in there for 10 or 15 minutes, and it just relaxes everything because everything gets so bunched. Of course, partially because we sit so much in this life that we have. A lot of people are sitting down a good portion of the day at work and other things. And just to have those, and it's the micro tissues, not necessarily all of the big muscles and all that stuff, but the micro tissues that are what kind of keep the spine together and balanced, giving them an opportunity to stretch themselves out and relieve some of that compression that happens in the spine. I don't have one. I've been in one before, and it did feel good when I came out of
Mm. Okay.
it. But yeah, your head gets kind of close to the floor. That's for sure.
Yeah. Now I've done my I don't want to call it rigged up one where I just reached for the door. The door jams are like what 8 feet high. I guess I think all of them.
Oh,
So
yeah.
stretching from that way, with the hand up, the arms up, and then just
Mhm.
letting your weight drop. If you can fingertip on the door
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
jam.
Mhm. Right.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm. Okay. All right. Well,
But we're still all going to shrink a little bit.
no matter what, you can do all the stretching you want.
Yeah,
that might last you for maybe 2-3 days, but then,
Prolonging the inevitability. Huh?
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, that's what Evan was talking about when he said gravity is something, man.
yeah, man. Gravity is undefeated.
Yeah, yeah, it will bring you down. Yes, sir. Good grace of life. Just, just when you think you know it all, here comes something new.
Yeah. Now that's when you start learning. Is when you learn. When you
Right.
learn something new, opens up a whole new realm
Hmm.
of opportunity to learn more stuff. So yeah, luckily it's an ongoing process. We never run out of things to learn. That's why we read the Quran, and every time you read the Quran, you learn something new.
Hmm. Yeah.
You know, knowledge upon knowledge. Just more doors and windows opening.
Hmm.
Yeah, beautiful life.
All
So
right. Well,
anything else, kind people?
no, nothing for me, man. I'm anxious to go out here and do my 1 hour walk. Doctor told me if I walk 45 minutes every day, I'll take I'll take the weight off me.
Mm-hmm.
She said if I do an hour, I'll keep it off. So so I've been doing an hour, and do you know it actually works?
Oh yeah, walking is great exercise.
It actually works, man.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, I do the hour, and I've been I've been holding a steady 232 for maybe the last 4 weeks. Um, and she told me, she said, what you got to do now, because she said I had lost the weight, and it was obvious to her I was keeping it off. But then she told me, she said, you're not losing it fast enough. And, I'm thinking, I said, I'm thinking to myself, well, please don't give me no Ozempic or, something, any of that weight loss stuff. Only thing she told me to do, she said, you need to start eating smaller portions. And it reminded me of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam that said, when we eat, that a third of what you eat is for you, the other third is for your stomach, and then you leave 1/3 free for air and water. I mean, in other words, we should never be full, full so much that we're comatose. that just not that was just not the way of the Muslim. And I've noticed here lately, since I've been following that prescription, it's working. I mean, because when I went in to see her, when was it? I went to see her last Monday. Got on the scale, I was 238. Now I'm down to 232. I mean, I lost 6 pounds in less than a week simply by following her prescription, going out and walking an hour every day and eating smaller portions. And I know I'm eating smaller portions because when I wake up in the mornings now, I'm hungry. And now I'm eating for energy and not just to fill myself up. So I'm telling us these things, man, because one day all of y'all gonna be in your 70s, and you might want to take a hint from me right now.
If we're not already there.
If you're not already there. Now, I'm not making no assumptions. See, you done spoke up now.
I can bear witness.
I wasn't
Alhamdulillah.
gonna point no fingers at no one in particular. We don't have any birth dates or anything of that nature. But
My
yeah,
my doctor actually said to me, when like yours, she said, "We don't get your kind in here often." And I looked at her, I thought she was being racist. Oh God, yeah, I went there first. I mean, my eyes looked, and she says, "Oh no, I mean well people
right,
that's
right,
not on any medication.
right.
Black
Yep,
seed oil."
right. Yeah,
And
yeah.
they
But
put that down, and I said, "And turmeric."
that's a preventative.
Right, and turmeric for my when I broke my foot. Those are the two things I took for my pain of healing my foot.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, "Oh, okay, alhamdulillah."
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
then, really, truly, they did say, "Okay, your kidneys, you may have to go on dialysis." I looked at her like, "No way." Well, she sent me to the specialist. They're both from India. The female specialist. She said, "I already know you don't want dialysis." She said, "Just drink more water." Because I was one that didn't like water back in the days.
Mm-hmm.
So the dehydration,
Okay.
dehydration will even cause the organs to swell because they're wanting the water. So
Mm-hmm.
what the nephrologists are doing is decreasing your water intake. They know you're going to swell, but that fictitious water, I call it fictitious water, then they want to put you on dialysis and drain it, which they're never. But what you really need is the reverse.
Mm-hmm.
Drink the water, the organs will go down, and the brain will receive what it needs, and you go from there.
Right.
But
Right.
alhamdulillah, when she said that, I just cried
Mm-hmm.
because how many people they're not telling that to.
Right. That's right. That's right.
So they said, whatever you're doing, keep doing it. They all celebrated in the office when they did my kidney testing. And my coach is Abdul Shahid out of Georgia as well. But they said, whatever you're doing, keep doing it. I said, okay, black seed oil, water, and going to sleep, getting my immune system in check.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Alhamdulillah. Well, I'm glad I got a partner in this journey. It's good to
73 looks good to me now. Back when I was 16, 30 looked old.
yeah. Yeah, you can look at people now and say, well, you ain't quite there yet.
Exactly.
That's like I look at the woman I've got power of attorney over. She just turned 91. And I know she looks at me like a youngster. I ain't quite there yet. All right, folks. We lost one.
Huh.
So
Alhamdulillah. You all have a fine one. And inshallah, we'll connect tomorrow night, right?
We're
No,
going to wait. We'll
Okay.
get back together with Collective Conversations, I believe, on the 28th.
Okay.
That'll be our target date to restart, and hopefully we'll have a guest for that program.
Okay. Okay. Very good. Very good. Alhamdulillah. And that's Mondays at 8.
Mondays at 6 o'clock Central, 7 o'clock Eastern time.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right.
But
Thank you.
I'll send those notices out again that week preceding the 28th.
Okay. All right. Thank you kindly. Assalamu alaikum.
someone gonna
Imam
close
Talib,
us
will you
out?
close it? Imam Talib, why don't you go ahead and do that
Okay.
for us?
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ربنا حسنة أخرة حسنة أقنا عذاب النار. Oh Allah, give us good in this world, good in the after, and defend us from the torment of the fire. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen.
I mean,
All right, beautiful people, go have a wonderful day.
Yep.
you
Assalamu
likewise.
alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you so much.